my best time in my career was obviously ECW,
Okay.
specifically 2000. Yeah,
Okay.
when we had that title run, and even afterwards, when things were going bad, I've heard Paul say this on Steve Austin's podcast. Financially, if you remember back in the day, even the last two pay-per-views we had at Hammerstein, we were still selling out, and we were still putting on quality matches, quality shows, quality stuff. It gets very much glorified that 95 and 90, these years that are in people's minds that were so, popular. But to me, 2000 was my best year. I got to live my dream and be, headline pay-per-views and work with you and work with Tommy and Jerry and so many great people. So, and Steve Corino as well. So
I remember the night that you and I got together at the arena.
Yep.
And I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember poor Jason because, my God, seriously, like we do the deal. And like PJ's in there, and we didn't work out anything at the end. We were just like playing off the top of our head. And remember my boob hanging out, and when I did the Hogan, so I have the shirt on, and I have to rip it open, and of course my boob hanging out, and I see Paul going like this on the stage, and I went and I cover it. And I walk over to you, and you just grab me by the waist. And here's Jason on the outside, like, yeah. And nobody's paying attention to Jason.
No.
And he comes up to me later, and he's like, "Did you know this?" And I said, "No, what?" And he goes, "You guys are phasing me out. Did you know?" And I'm like, "I didn't know. I don't know anything
think about it either. But I was never told anything either."
I felt so freaking bad. I was like, "Dude, I would never ever try to push you out of any equation. Like, this is like your deal. Like, this is where Paul told me I was going."
Yeah, I was never officially told anything about Jason. I was just told. I just sat there and I did what I was told, man. And
me too.
And I never got in on the politics, even though Paul sometimes would have me come over. Like one time, and I didn't like it when I was working with Shane. We had that one great match at the ECW arena, and I think you were with Shane at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going over, or no, Shane was going over, but it was supposed to be like this, whatever. He had me go over to his room at the wherever we were staying in Philly. I think he was at the Marriott, and he called Shane and staying in the same hotel and put him on speakerphone for me to listen, but did not tell Shane I was in the room.
Ooh.
And now I've become really close with Shane now. I mean, we were close then, but like I'm really, I really consider him a friend today. And even then I found it disrespectful because as he's putting Shane over saying, "You've got to make this kid tomorrow night's going to be the night," he was doing the franchise to him, like mocking him while he's talking to him. And I'm sitting here, and I think my wife was with me too. I just found that, like, if he's doing that to Shane, what's he doing to me? What's he doing to other people? So, yeah,
wow. Okay, well,
that's what it is. But I don't like. That's something that I really truly don't like, and it really bothers me.
Yeah, I don't like that either. That's just
not cool.
Wow.
Man. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I was going to say everybody keeps talking about like my pairing with Shane, but I feel like you and I clicked right away as well.
I thought so, yeah.
We had a really, really good partnership. And I remember the last pay-per-view, we were forming the new Impact players with Corino and Jack Victory.
That's right. I don't remember those storylines towards the end.
We cut a promo, and it was like the four of us.
Okay.
And we were just cutting this promo, and when we were done the promo, we all kind of looked at each other. We were like, "It's never going to happen."
No,
like we knew, like this is why are we even here? Like it's not going to happen. But it was, to me, that would have been such a cool thing to do because like Corino was such a heel, you were such a heel.
Yeah.
And like Jack in that wheelchair was gold.
Yeah, that would have been
so fun to be, a team like that. But I mean, I loved working with you. I'll be honest. Like,
I did too. I did too. It was effortless. That's the thing is, people sometimes mistake what ECW was, and there were times where things were, physically rough, but it wasn't what people think. And I'll guarantee you this. They're hitting way harder in WWE and in NXT than we ever did in ECW. I'm serious. I mean, these kids, they don't work anymore. I mean, I see bloody lips. I see bloody noses. These kids are just, I don't know, man. It is what it is, but
I think accidents happen, but we say it all the time. Like, we literally tried to protect each other.
We always did. We always did.
There was never intentional.
No, and we entertained at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We knew how to. We kind of it all figured out. All right, this is where we get and Dreamer was real good at teaching this to me. This is where we'll do this. We'll get this pop here, and then we'll get this other pop here. So we always knew kind of where to layer our stuff. And if there was something wrong with me, if I wasn't feeling well, he'd figure a way around it. You'd help me figure a way around it. We'd just work it all out, and. I think nowadays in wrestling, you don't really, I don't think, Vince Russo and I talked about this today. I don't think the guys, a lot of the younger guys in the locker room have the respect that we had for the veterans. And I certainly see that, like, where, you guys don't know anything. The game is changing, and we're just going to do our own thing. And that may be true. I know the game is changing, but everything that's old becomes new, and everything that's new becomes old. So after I'm already we're week 5 into our AEW review, and towards the end of my note writing at night, I was already like, it's like same every night. You see, I literally do a gimmick now where I count how many dives they do and how many apron bumps. It all looks like the same match, and how many super kicks there are in a show, and how many times somebody slaps their leg. It's all the same match. One thing that's disappointing, and I won't get into it. I'm still in that mode. Is the women's division really kind of is not good over there? And I thought
really,
it would be.
I haven't seen any of it, so no. I don't watch wrestling anymore. I watched the first week of AEW. I watched the first hour.
Yeah.
And I saw a little bit of the girls' match that night, but I never saw the finish because I think my kids were coming home from school and I had to go get them or something. But just didn't turn it back on. Like,
I can't watch WWE. It's just too long. It's just the same stuff. But one thing I do tell, the thing I can say about both products are two totally different styles.
Yeah,
totally different styles. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Right. Well, I get a lot of people, and you probably get the same thing I do with the network out there.
Yeah.
We have such a new generation of fans that are watching our stuff for the first time.
Yes.
And it's 20, 25 years old, and they're saying how it holds up in the year 2019 and how creative it is.
Yeah.
And then you go and tell me it's the same stuff every single week. We never did that. There was so much variety on our show, and kept it fresh,
It kept it fresh. And one thing Paul was really good at was, and a lot of the best directors are just like that. He made the most of what he had. He would find a spot outside of a building to do a promo.
Right.
He did those Pulp Fiction vignettes. Like, that's stuff that's still not being done today. It's not being utilized. Like, one of the biggest criticisms I have of AEW is unless you followed the Elite, those guys from before, you're a new fan tuning in, you really don't you don't know who these guys are. So they're having a hard time where Paul would everybody would have their little shtick and promos, and not just long-winded in-ring promos where, WWE does like I talk, you talk, and just fun stuff. And I think it holds up today. I'm amazed that nobody's really tried to, people have tried, but to try to take some of those elements and freshen them up to today. Because what we also did was, and we couldn't get away with it today because of copyrights, but man, that music,
I know,
with the wrestling, and it was like, it made it cool, and the buildings were on fire. It was so entertaining. Just that whole thing was just, it was just different. And if you have the money, like an AEW or the WWE, hell, if me and X-Pac got Uncle Cracker to give us a song, and they were paying for it every time we came out. They paid for it.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not do a little more of that? I think music and wrestling for a long time has gone together, and it could really make your show a little hipper.
I would sit in the studio and be amazed by Paul, because he would use all the cool hip artists of 1996, and we'd be like, how are you getting away with it? Don't worry about it. Don't just relax. Don't worry. I'm just like, man, this is really cool, but God, if you ever get caught, how are we not caught on television? Like,
well, how we got away with it on pay-per-view was, if it's on in the background, like if it's not plugged into the feed, like the direct audio feed, and if it's like distant in the background, you can get away with some of it. Not all of it, but you could get away with some of it.